You've been kidnapped. 30 minutes later your kidnapper dumps you on the street because you won't stop talking about what. So let me tell you how Linux is a far better operating system and how the modern internet owes its life to free and open source software. Lego. Oh, this one piece only came in one set issued in 1984. It was a limited edition set, so there weren't that many to start with, but a lot of pieces from that era are now lost or in landfills, so it only comes up for sale from time to time, usually at auction. One sold in 2003 for $72 buck. Can you believe that? $72 for a single Lego piece. Anyway, every time I buy used Legos, I always check for that piece. Oh. There's other pieces like that too. It isn't just the one piece. There was another piece, well actually I meant a figure, that was all gold. Not like that fake plastic looking gold, but actually shiny. Wait, where are you going, guys? Hey, I'm almost done. You gotta hear the rest, guys. The fact that College Board basically has a monopoly on the college credit entrance business, at least in the US, but we use them in an international school I went to too, and how competition is necessary for apps, SATs, AskReddit. To be cheaper and more reasonable, they are bad for the higher education system and everyone in it. You see, everyone just uses the shield wrong. You don't always need it out. You can deflect skeleton arrows, and even creeper blasts. It's totally worth the 16th of the screen you lose while you have it equipped. An infinity, what a joke. Get a Fletcher or a skeleton spawner and you're set for life. Why not just add mending into the mix? And don't even get me started on how much more people should be using potions. You know, instant harming too can drag. Endlessly critiquing their kidnapping plan as I suggest better options. You know, the zip tie is a nice pick but they're really easy to snap with sense effort. Personally I'd suggest rope or even paracord. I hope you remembered to wear a disguise when you rented this van. They have CCTVs everywhere nowadays. Neither of us need your face on TV. So what's your end game here? Is it money? A sex thing? Revenge? A sex thing? I just like to know what's on the itinerary. If it's one of those other things, can it also be a sex thing? I mean, it's not my fault you didn't think to sedate me when you picked me up. Frankly, that's a rookie mistake. Some chick wouldn't stop pestering me at the bar one time, so I made up a whole fake backstory about being a washed-up Disney Channel star until she eventually got bored and left me alone. I made up a theme song and everything, and basically wouldn't let her change the subject. I'd probably just do that again. Big edit. Let me tell you about the Y2K Disney shit show that was Bug Chasers. Don't look it up. So exactly how much do you know about the show Bug Chasers? Nothing? Boy do I envy you right now. The premise was basically four best friends discover that the evil Dr. Merkin is planning to release his Y2K bug into cyberspace, aka the cyber zone. Picture a great value boy band style of archetypes, a bad boy, a jock, the prankster, me, and the brainy one. The brainy one, Takeshi, builds a portal to the cyber zone, so we could battle the computer bugs in a very poor CGI world, basically reboot, VR Troopers, Code Lyoko. We each had a specialty, and a color scheme, where I was cast as the Green Bug Chaser, Louis Not Bukowski, who was equipped with a slime cannon and other gross bug traps, stink bombs etc. There were a ton of ongoing gags, particularly between myself, Takeshi, and our big sister Melissa. If you've been keeping up with the names so far, you may have noticed that Takeshi, who was the yellow bug chaser, has a significantly more Asian-sounding name than Louis or Melissa Bukowski. This is never explained, this is never even addressed, even with 13 episodes shot and 26 planned. It wasn't even touched upon. Anyways, Our big sister would usually tease him for being a dork, or get mad at me for being gross, and she'd always get her cumans for being an outright bitch. She'd get zapped fucking with electronics, have sent bombs go off on her, and even got sucked through the portal into the infamously disgusting cyber slug zone. You know how each Walking Dead episode had that one scene that was just gratuitously disgusting for no other reason than to try and one-up the previous episode? That became a thing with Melissa, but it took a far more skeevy route. Firstly, let's cut to the chase. Get it? You're probably more wondering what happened to his show and career. The show was straight up cursed. It was supposed to go along with an arcade shooter and Sega Dreamcast game, with basically no other merchandising. The death of arcades and the Dreamcast flopping next that. The blue bird chaser, Johnny, the jock wielding a long-range bug zapper, was paralyzed while his mother was driving drunk and wheelchair-bound right before the 4th episode was shot. They told him they were just gonna roll with it, but ended up replacing him. I won't forget the heartbreak on his face when he showed up to the set only to find out he had lost more than his mother, and use of his legs, but the chance to defeat Dr. Merkin and be the hero kids need. The animation department was never given the funding they needed to begin with, but also suffered a computer virus that required them to turn in their machines to the police. The resulting CGI was about 5 years behind its time, and couldn't grab kids' attention. The characters were barely likable to boot. Takashi was a nerd, and his main job was to do technical stuff for the group, and he didn't even get a cool weapon. Not that the weapons were terribly cool, with Disney trying their best to avoid anything too gun-like. The Red Bird Chaser had a fucking flisswater. Johnny had been replaced after 3 episodes, meaning they reshot a couple scenes where they could, redubbed lines, and ultimately cut a lot of material featuring that character. I was the most well-liked character by far, being the zany little scuzzball that I was. My mom was fucking the producer, so I think my character got a little bit more to work with. That, and how my character played off of Melissa. The show was cancelled shortly thereafter, having only half a season air. Mitch was fired, and there was a huge class action lawsuit based around a pedophilia case. The computers that were taken by the authorities had child porn on them, many of which were pictures of child actors. My mom got too full of herself and wouldn't take the settlement, insisting on a lead role for me instead. But her mouth couldn't influence them nearly the way it influenced Mitch. My role was half voice over work, and my character usually wore goggles even in the real world, so my face was mostly forgettable. This would be the end of my show business career until my work on an adult film set years later. But that's a different story. Endlessly critiquing their kidnapping plan as I suggest better options. You know, the zip tie is a nice pick, but they're really easy to snap with since effort. Personally, I'd suggest rope or even paracord. I hope you remembered to wear a disguise when you rented this van. They have CCTVs everywhere nowadays. Neither of us need your face on TV. So what's your end game here? Is it money? A sex thing? Revenge? A sex thing? I'd just like to know what's on the itinerary. If it's one of those other things, can it also be a sex thing? I mean, it's not my fault you didn't think to sedate me when you picked me up. Frankly, that's a rookie mistake. True crime podcasts. Edit. No joke. A friend of mine owns a bar, and whenever I'm there, we have a deal. If people stay too long after last call when she's trying to close up, if I can get them to leave, I drink for free. My go-to is to start telling stories about my favorite true crime cases, and it works almost every time. My 15 story ideas, all of which are fantastical. Hey guys, quick edit. So many of you sound like amazing writers, creators, and storytellers. So I made the subreddit Your Story here PLS. Feel free to join to put any or all aspects of your stories down, no matter how short or long. I can't respond to all of you, so here's a subreddit instead. Smile. how badly I want someone to play WoW with me. Edit, RIP my inbox. I'm never going to be able to reply to everyone, so I'm just going to bullet point a couple of the most common replies. What is WoW? World of Warcraft. Massively multiplayer online role-playing game by Blizzard Entertainment. Originally released in 2004, it's arguably the most successful MMO of all time. The current expansion, Shadowlands, just released at the end of 2020. The player count has ebbed and flowed over the years, but it's still got an active player base numbering in the multi-millions, and Shadowlands briefly held the record for fastest-selling PC game ever. Come join us on X server/classic/alliance/etc. I genuinely appreciate everyone who has offered to game along with me. Unfortunately right now, unless you're horde on Thrall US, I'm not going to be able to move. I'm a rampaging alcoholic and I'm too deeply rooted where I am to make any changes beyond maybe moving guilds. Play Y game instead. That's a negative. Ghost Rider. People throw me the stink eye every time I say it, but I really like where WoW is right now. Shadowlands brought me back into WoW after quitting mid-mists. For me, that's massive. As a result, I'm not eager to try and pick up another time sink right now. Why some people pronounce the same two words differently, a historic versus an historic. Sorry, that was meant to be phonetic. Also, why the rising terminal is so annoying when it isn't a question. Edit, sorry, I should have said high rising terminal. Edit, part 2, electric boogaloo. Thank you, I learned quite a bit about the H-word thing. How excited I am to finally have been kidnapped, and how long I've waited for this, and how it's almost exactly like that movie with Alicia Silverstone, and how she was in the Batman movie but wasn't very good, even though Batman is a great character and Adam West was a hilarious Batman but was even better on Family Guy, and then Family Guy is getting a little too overrated for my taste. And speaking for test, can we stop for food because I'm hungry, and when I get hungry I get cranky, and a Snickers won't help, even though Snickers is packed with peanuts, caramel and chocolate but not dark chocolate, and I'm sure Snickers at one point did a dark chocolate version, and if not I might be thinking about Milky Way midnight bars, and the Milky Way is so vast and huge and we have no idea how much further out it goes. And edit, holy hell, I did not expect this to blow up like it did. Thank you to everyone that sent awards, gold and all the comments. I'm actively trying to read them all, but the outpouring is amazing. I read a bunch to my wife and son last night and they were laughing their asses off. You all are some hilarious people. Thank you so much. About how Hades is actually a pretty good guy, and that the idea of him being evil or bad comes from the Christian idea of the devil being associated with him for no reason other than underworld. About the changes that Formula One tracks suffered after Ayrton Senna's fatal accident during the 1994 San Marino GP. Not many people know that several tracks such as Montreal, Barcelona, Spa-Francorchamps, Silverstone, Jerez, Estoril, Monza, and of course, Imola, where the tragedy happened, were modified with temporary or permanent chicanes, or reprofiled corners in an attempt to make them a bit safer. I could go on talking about the layout evolution of all of these tracks over the years. The kidnapper would beg for mercy. God help him when I start rambling about Spa's bus stop. Plants. I've been dumped by boyfriends, colleagues, and friend groups because it's all I ever want to talk about. I know this isn't in the spirit of the hypothetical, but I did get to bring up plants in a relevant way, so it's a win in my eyes. The litter at the side of the road that I can see through the van window, it's an outrage. I don't understand why people do this. Why don't they have more respect? Think of the wildlife. It's so ugly. Why aren't the council cleaning this up? Aren't other people annoyed by this? What must foreign visitors think? Our nice countryside is being ruined. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy merchandise were the closest thing to everything. I love jellyfishing. You should love jellyfishing. You should come sometime and bring your own net. So, as I was saying, you and me gotta hang out more. What nights are good for you? Here are the nights that are good for me. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I gotta work. I work at the Krusty Krab. My best friend is Patrick. He's pink, etc. That completely fascinating dream I had, followed by the story of how I got out of jury duty, followed by how I got rear-ended at a red light and the guy who hit me tried to get out of paying for it. Cryptocurrency investing opportunities. Fuck this influx of new crypto subs every damn millisecond. Nobody cares about your moon waffle coins. Edit and watch, someone will make moon waffle coins and they will be worth billions ... of other useless coins. Update, I couldn't get the name for moon waffle but my new coin is off the chain. Moon blue waffle is totally legit. Search blue waffle to find out more. I'd tell them everything. I'd tell them how in 3rd grade I cheated on my history exam. On 4th grade I stole my uncle's tip and glued it on my face. On 5th grade I knocked my sister Edie down the stairs and blamed it on the dog. Then my mom sent me to summer camp for fat kids. Then on lunch I pigged out and they kicked me out. But the worst thing I ever done, I got my father's fake puke at home and then I went to this movie theater with the puke in my jacket, climbed up to the balcony, and then I made a noise like this makes puking noise, and then I dumped it on the side. Then all the people in the audience started getting sick and puking all over each other. I never felt so bad in my entire life. Frown. How amazing season 8 of GOT was. I think it's shit, actually, but if I kept going on and on about how wonderful the writing was, how satisfied all the character endings were, I'm sure they'd be like, she's crazy, man, just bring her back. Just an endless stream of woke shit. Why isn't there a woman on his kidnapping team? Why no black folks? Doesn't he believe in representation? Just non-stop jabbering about gender dynamics, white supremacy, etc. Nefarious people relish the fear of their prey, so the most obvious solution would be to convey captivating, exuberant joy to the kidnapper at having been kidnapped, would remove all of the satisfaction of the kidnapper. Just a theory. I'd probably have an in-depth conversation with myself about the vastness of the universe and how interesting this thing we call life is, that we place so much value on material possessions and spend so much time, which by the way is our only non-renewable resource, in attaining money which honestly is fruitless in the end. Like what a poor return on your investment. You're spending your only non-renewable resource on the back that you'll have enough of it once you gather enough of this infinite and renewable thing that we as a society deems as valuable. That's the most ass-backwards thing I have ever heard. The best part is we're all energy and we have no idea what happens after our carbon and physical manifestation of our soul dies. Can I just say also that we're literally on a rock floating through space and we feel that we're the only thing that matters and our problems are the most pressing thing. Spike was truly the right man for Buffy. We all know Angel was great. But hear me out, Angel was only able to love Buffy when he had a soul. When he lost his soul, he did nothing but torment her and take pleasure in it. On the other hand, Spike fell in love with Buffy despite not having a soul. Then when he realized that his actions were hurting her, he went on a fucking quest to go get his soul back. Like, how can you possibly still think that Buffy and Angel were meant to be after all of that? The gay subtext that exists between character and character being literally any anime, JRPG, doesn't matter which show or game, as long as I'm moderately familiar with it. I can find 2 characters with gay subtext between them. Bonus points on if they let me talk enough to explain the inherent double standard on the portrayal of lesbian relationships versus gay men in relationships in Japanese media.